No one expected Arnold Schwarzenegger and Maria Shriver's marriage to end in scandal, but many saw signs of trouble brewing behind the scenes. Here are some of the red flags that popped up along the way. In 2012, Arnold Schwarzenegger released his memoir, Total Recall: My Unbelievably True Life Story, in which he gave an interesting look at his love story with Maria Shriver. In the memoir, the action star revealed the moment he knew he wanted to marry her. It involved what he described as a, quote, hot affair with his co-star Brigitte Nielsen. While filming Red Sonja, Schwarzenegger, who was dating Shriver at the time, described the affair as a fling that ended weeks after filming Wrapped. He claimed that Nielsen wanted something more, but he declined, saying, "It was fun over there, but it wasn't serious. I'm already involved with the woman I want to marry. I hope you understand."
I'm a stud. I'm ballsy. I smoke my stogie anywhere I want. I don't have to find a hideout place like you.
The two went their separate ways, and the actor returned to Shriver, hoping to take their relationship to the next level. He explained, "The fling with Brigitte Nielsen underlined what I already knew. I wanted Maria to be my wife." Shriver was reportedly dropping hints that she was ready for marriage and wanted to start a family. So Schwarzenegger designed a ring and made plans to pop the question. As he recalled, "When I wrote down my list of goals for 1985, at the very top I put, 'This is the way I will propose to Maria.'"
When we were in the middle of the lake, they then pulled out the ring and they proposed to her.
The two married the following year. The ultimate test for a relationship is how your friends and family feel about your significant other. And when they don't approve, it can be a bad sign of things to come. For Shriver, when she began dating Schwarzenegger, it wasn't just the public who were confused about their pairing. People close to her were too. In a 2011 interview with Vanity Fair, Shriver explained, "I did not marry the boy next door. I did not want to. People at first were like, 'You married the other side of the tracks.' They have trouble with the class thing. You are supposed to live a life that they project onto you." Many people expected Shriver to marry a man from a respected political family like her own. Those expectations meant that the couple received plenty of rude comments at the beginning of their relationship. But Shriver saw things differently, saying, "When I started going out with him, people were like, 'What?' And he was never bothered by that. The thing I admired about him was that he never tried to play it safe. People say to him, 'You can't do this or do that.' He doesn't care."
Okay. Lady number one, I'm a man and you're a woman. Now where do we go from here?
From the outside looking in, it was easy to see the glaring difference between the two. But at the time, Shriver believed that their differences brought them closer together, sharing, "I wanted someone different. I married my authentic self." In 2003, Schwarzenegger set his eyes on becoming governor of California. He not only had to convince the people of his state that he was the man for the job, but he also had to convince his then-wife Maria Shriver to get on board. Unfortunately for Schwarzenegger, getting Shriver on board wasn't so easy.
And that's why I didn't really know if I'm gonna run or not, because I didn't want to run if she's not 100% behind it.
When the actor initially proposed the idea to Shriver, she was less than enthusiastic. And when he finally asked her point-blank about the matter, it went about as badly as he'd expected.
She just, flipped out. I mean, she was just, I almost felt like she was hyperventilating.
For Shriver, her husband's campaign would mean she was thrust back into the same political whirlwind she'd tried to leave behind. "But I realized that if I said no, I'd be stopping my husband from achieving his dream. It was a catch-22. So I told Arnold that he should do what he wanted to do." Eventually, Shriver came around and he announced the campaign on The Tonight Show. Being a political family is complicated. Being a political family with differing political views is even harder. Shriver, who grew up a Kennedy, which is practically synonymous with the Democratic Party, was now the wife of a Republican candidate. During his campaign for governor of California, Schwarzenegger repeatedly stated that his wife's differing political views were never an issue to him. In fact, Shriver was credited with helping him understand issues on the other side of the political aisle. For her part, Shriver claimed that despite her husband being a Republican, he was balanced and open to different ideas. She told people, "The Arnold I know is open-minded. He is not right-wing or not left-wing, but makes decisions based on what he thinks is right for all of California."
You have to sell everything. No matter what you do in life, you have to sell it.
However, the loyalty to their different political parties was still very apparent, especially at election time. In 2008, while Shriver openly supported Barack Obama's presidential run, her husband endorsed Republican candidate John McCain. They attended separate campaign events, each throwing their personal support behind their candidate. In 2003, during his campaign for governor of California, Schwarzenegger found himself embroiled in scandal when more than 15 women accused him of groping them. Schwarzenegger's campaign initially denied the allegations before offering an apology. He said, "It is true that I was on rowdy movie sets and I've done things that were not right," which I thought then was playful. "Those people that I've offended, I want to say to them I am deeply sorry about that, and I apologize, because that's not what I'm trying to do." In the face of these allegations, the actor turned to his wife to save his campaign. Shriver appeared at multiple rallies and passionately defended her husband's character, shocking friends and colleagues who expected her to keep a low profile. Instead, Shriver played a key role in targeting female voters. In a speech to a crowd of Republican women, Shriver said,
"You can listen to all the negativity and you can listen to people who have never met Arnold or who met him for 5 seconds 30 years ago, or you can listen to me."
During his 2003 campaign for governor of California, Schwarzenegger's life was put under a microscope. One previous interview that didn't sit well with female voters was a 1988 conversation with Playboy, in which he said, "Neither my mother nor Maria is allowed to go out with me in pants. Maria would never wear pants, believe me." But the actor didn't stop there. He went on to review his wife's appearance, saying, "She knows she looks better in dresses. Maria has the kind of look, the kind of face and hair and eyes and mouth and body that is very royal, like a queen, and I don't like to see a queen in pants." Shriver, who was seen wearing slacks many times in public, didn't comment on her husband's bizarre statements. Shriver's journalism career began in 1977, long before her husband's gubernatorial campaign. Despite her own political alignment with the Democratic Party, Shriver was known for being objective. However, during Arnold Schwarzenegger's campaign, a crisis arose. How could she continue reporting for Dateline NBC with a husband who's running for office? Shriver initially took a leave of absence with hopes of returning. However, her colleagues felt like it would create a conflict of interest. NBC president Neil Shapiro initially shut down those claims and noted Shriver's reputation as a journalist, telling the New York Times she's been a journalist her whole working life. And she has awards to attest to her ability. Just because her husband ran for office doesn't mean it should wipe that slate clean. After Schwarzenegger was elected, Shriver returned for only 2 appearances on Dateline NBC before announcing her retirement on CBS News in 2004. While speaking to Vanity Fair in 2011, she explained her efforts to stay, saying, "I had been in TV a long time. I knew what a conflict was. I knew what my integrity was. I said, we can work this out. They said no." In 2011, just 5 months after leaving office, Schwarzenegger and Shriver announced their separation. In a joint statement to the Los Angeles Times, the couple shared, "This has been a time of great personal and professional transition for each of us. After a great deal of thought, reflection, discussion, and prayer, we came to this decision together. At this time, we are living apart while we work on the future of our relationship."
Consider that a divorce.
Days later, the real tea came to light when the Los Angeles Times reported that Schwarzenegger had fathered a child with their housekeeper more than a decade earlier. Upon learning the news, Shriver moved out of the family home. From then on, they were living separate lives. Schwarzenegger was preparing a comeback in the film and was off traveling the world, while Shriver was grappling with her father's death and promoting causes important to her, like Alzheimer's research. In his 2023 Netflix documentary, Arnold Schwarzenegger confirmed his affair with the housekeeper, which resulted in a son, Joseph Baena. In the film, Schwarzenegger admitted that Shriver had long suspected the truth, something that came out in couples therapy. Schwarzenegger remembered, "In one of the sessions, the counselor said, 'I think today Maria wants to be very specific about something. She wants to know if you are the father of Joseph.'"
I thought my heart stopped. And then I told the truth.
The housekeeper had worked with the family for over 20 years before the scandal broke. Schwarzenegger insisted he hadn't been sure Joseph was his at first. Then, as time went on, he was concerned about keeping it a secret. In a 2011 People interview, Mildred recounted the moment she told Shriver the truth, saying, "Maria would ask if I needed to talk to her, and I kept saying no. Finally, she asked point blank if Joseph was Arnold's son, and I just broke down.